I have Donald Trump's MRI results. So why wasn't the word MRI mentioned anywhere in this report? Because he didn't have an MRI. What got all of this started, this whole MRI thing? In October, he visited Walter Reed, as you remember, and we made a video about it, like you were alluding to, where there was this report that he had some advanced imaging performed.
Yeah.
A reporter on Air Force One during one of the press gaggles asked him the question, did you have an MRI? And Trump almost reflexively answered yes. So let's play that clip.
You read off Walter Reed mentioned advanced medical imaging. Did you get an MRI? Can you tell us what that was?
I got an MRI. It was perfect. Yeah.
Can you tell us
I gave you the full results. We had an MRI, and in the machine, the whole thing, and it was perfect. Yeah.
Can you say what in particular they were looking for?
You could ask the doctors.
So the important note here, this is key, that Trump didn't spontaneously say, I had an MRI. The reporter put the idea of MRI in his head and said, did you have an MRI? Trump said, yes, I had an MRI. And then he gestured. He gestured like he went in and out of that scanning machine, which our video from a month ago, we already kind of talked about this. What kind of scan did he actually have? Trump basically just went along with this idea that he had an MRI. Yeah. And then, of course, it caught fire that he had this advanced imaging, an MRI. And, of course, it's been in the news for a month now. Now, the press, to their credit, has done a good job of continuing to ask him about this MRI that he apparently had, this routine screening MRI, kind of the way that they word it. So let's play this next clip, which finally resulted in the release of this report here.
Oh,
so
wow. About a month later.
Release it. It's okay with me to release it. It's perfect.
What was the result?
It's like my phone call where I got impeached. It's absolutely perfect. So if you want to hear about it, or if you want to release it, do you want to have it released?
Yes,
News Nation, failing News Nation.
No, sir, we're not failing.
News Nation is doing lousy, by the way. But if you want to have it released, I'll release it.
Please, can you tell us what they were looking at?
For what, releasing?
No. What part of your body was the MRI looking at?
I have no idea. It was just an MRI. What part of the body? It wasn't the brain, because I took a cognitive test and I aced it. I got a perfect mark, which you would be incapable of doing. Goodbye, everybody. You too.
So, a couple points. Number one.
That was funny. He was referencing the cognitive test that you gave to me, which is not actually a real test that he's thinking that it is.
Well, it was a cognitive test. It wasn't an IQ test, but it was a lot easier than he suggests that it was. But it's interesting that he had no idea why he had the test done. And that's important because...
Or what was being tested.
Right. What body part? He had no idea what body part. I don't know. An MRI, the body. I don't know. So what that tells me as a doctor is that he didn't have a complaint. Like I sort of speculated in a previous video that he had some imaging done. Maybe he got an MRI of like his knee or his hip or something because he had a complaint. But his answer of I have no idea sounded like a genuine answer, which tells me...
Yeah, I think that felt genuine.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it tells me that he probably was just having some sort of screening done, some sort of advanced imaging test, screening test, looking at something. And the doctors obviously didn't explain what they were looking for or why he had the test done, or if they did, he didn't care. He just went along with whatever it was that they said. So let's talk about the results. So true to his word that he just mentioned in the clip, he would have the White House release the results of the this scan that he had done. Let's go ahead and play the next clip of Carolyn Levitt.
Danny. Follow up on the MRI, because President Trump yesterday said that he would release the results of his MRI. Is that happening right now?
It is happening right now. As part of, and this is a summary from the president's physician, and we will release it right now. I think my team has it teed up for all of you. I'll read it for you, and then you'll get it physically as well. As part of President Trump's comprehensive executive physical, advanced imaging was performed because men in his age group.
Let's just let the doctor read it because I have some notes. So
I don't need MAGA acolyte Caroline Levitt to. I also have a physician.
I'm going to read this report. This is the whole thing. This is the whole report.
That's alarmingly short.
So this is a memorandum. As part of President Donald J. Trump's comprehensive executive physical, advanced imaging was performed because men in his age group benefit from a thorough evaluation of cardiovascular and abdominal health.
Is that cardiovascular again?
I'll get to those, so stay with me. The purpose of this imaging is preventative. To identify issues early, confirm overall health, and ensure he maintains long-term vitality and function. Stay with me. President Trump's cardiovascular imaging is perfectly normal. There is no evidence of arterial narrowing, impairing blood flow, or abnormalities in the heart or major vessels. The heart chambers are normal in size, the vessel walls appear smooth and healthy, and there is no signs of inflammation or clotting. Overall, his cardiovascular system shows excellent health. His abdominal imaging is also perfectly normal. All major organs appear very healthy and well perfused. Everything evaluated is functioning within normal limits with no acute or chronic concerns. This level of detailed assessment is standard for an executive physical at President Trump's age and confirms that he remains in excellent overall health. A lot to unpack there. I'm going to run through this. You have some questions?
Just two observations I'm just going to make kind of off top.
Okay.
You know, as a layman, somebody who does not have any training, so me and probably most of our viewers, to me it sounds like this is more of a routine screening. Like you said, kind of age really. Like this is, so that's why Trump wouldn't know. That's my guess, and I'm sure you'll have some answers for me. He doesn't know because it's just, they said, hey Trump, we got to go get a scan. And he's like, okay. Two, I don't know how long ago this was, but it was definitely this year. That Trump said that he had something was diagnosed. I don't remember what it was, but it had to do with his swelling.
Chronic venous insufficiency. Right.
So I don't know if that's related to this. Doctor said he's perfect, but clearly he's not perfect. So
he's not perfect.
Two observations, but I'll let you take it from here.
He's not perfect, that's for sure. So one kind of glaring obvious point here is the acronym MRI is not mentioned anywhere in this report.
Yeah, it just only advanced imaging.
And here's why I know that he did not have an MRI. Because you cannot image the heart very well with an MRI. Why? An MRI is a slow test. Anybody that's had an MRI knows you have to lay in the machine, in that tube, perfectly still for like an hour. Like perfectly still.
Oh man, that's a long time.
And I don't think that Donald Trump or anybody else for that matter has the ability to stop their heart from beating for an hour so they can image the heart. So as the heart is contracting, you'll get artifact within the images. And so an MRI is not the test to look at the heart. I'll explain at the end why they didn't clarify that, or why I think that they didn't clarify that. So if he didn't have an MRI, then what did he have? Well, he clearly had some sort of CT scan. Again, this is what I hypothesized in the previous video that we did last month, that the only real screening test, to your point of what screening test would somebody, you know, an elderly man have, and a coronary artery calcium score would really be the only screening test that anybody would have done. Now, number one, good luck for any average American getting their health insurance to pay for a test like that, particularly Medicare HMO plans.
I've never even heard of what you just said, so it's not covered probably.
So I'd like to have a look actually at this image, and we can see what a coronary artery calcium scan looks like. So I want you to look at the image on the left, right? So this is a picture of the same person. This is an image. This is a scan, like a screen grab of a scan.
Yes.
The image on the left is a scan of the heart without dye injected into the veins. The scan on the right is an image with dye injected into the inside the blood vessels. And so you can see different things when you inject the dye versus when you don't inject the dye.
It's
so
certainly more clear. Yeah.
So a coronary artery calcium score is really only looking at how much calcium buildup that there is inside the arteries of the heart. And you can actually see the calcium in the image on the left. It's almost right in the middle, that bright white line. That bright white line is calcium buildup inside one of the arteries of the heart. So that quick CAT scan would help to reveal information about that. Now, there's some clues in this report that would suggest that maybe he didn't have a non-contrasted scan of the heart or a calcium measurement, but rather they actually injected him with dye. Importantly, again, in the report, they talk about perfusion. Now, that means how well blood is perfusing into the organs or into the heart. They also talk about there's no evidence of arterial narrowing impairing blood flow. Usually, you'd have to inject the dye so you can see if there's some sort of narrowing of the vessel, and you need the dye inside the lumen of the vessel to see if there's a spot that's closed off or more narrow.
A cleaner contrast, yeah.
So it's a cleaner image, right? So it gives you that better image. And they also mention that the organs in the abdomen appear well perfused as well. Again, you could not see perfusion on a non-contrasted CT scan. So if this is true, if this report is true,
it's all we have.
Then he must have had a contrasted CT scan. So let's look at a video of what a contrasted CT scan of the heart would look like. So let's go ahead and look at that next video. On the left, you'll notice that the image is moving. The image on the right is a picture of the heart this way. So if you're looking at me, it's like an image from the front of the body.
Yes, okay.
Right? And you see that white line, that horizontal line that's going across on the image on the right?
Yes.
So that's the slice level.
Yep.
So if you were to take that slice and then look down from the top, or actually look up from the bottom in this case, and that's what the image on the left that you see. Watch that line go up and down the heart. The image on the left, you see it changes depending on where the slice is cut.
Exactly.
And in this case, because they've injected the dye, you can actually see whether there's narrowing of the arteries in the heart. You can see if there's any abnormalities of the blood vessels, the structures. In fact, it comments in the report about the major blood vessels. So that's like the aorta and these major blood vessels that leave the heart and then down into the abdominal aorta as well, including the arteries that feed the kidneys. And these are big, important arteries, and it's reasonable to have a look at those. So in my best judgment, as best as I can tell, based on the official report given to us by the White House, that Donald Trump actually had a CTA, or an angiogram of the heart, essentially. So that's to see if he actually has any clogged arteries in the heart. And with his lifestyle, his stress, sleep, his diet, his McDonald's Diet Coke diet. If I were his doctor or somebody equivalent to him, I certainly would want to image as much as they would let me image or he would let me image. The last thing I would want is for me to miss something and then he goes and has a heart attack right after he just had his presidential executive examination. How could you miss it? So that probably is the reason for such a detailed examination. And I'll tell you this, that kind of scan, there is nothing routine about that. There's nothing screening wise. We certainly would never do it. So what I believe is that that doctor, probably smart, knows that he wouldn't want to be responsible for missing something major.
Yeah.
And so he's going to go ahead and do the full contrasted scan and let me look at as much as I can look at. To that point, it mentions abdominal structures and abdominal organs in here as well.
Yeah, so they scanned his whole torso.
So a CAT scan is a quick thing, in and out of the machine. I mean, Donald Trump, he demonstrated it himself. It's a pretty quick scan. So if you're already scanning, why not keep scanning, and let me go ahead and have a look at kind of everything right down the chain. There's no reason not to go ahead and do everything. In fact,
we're here already, right?
Yeah, in fact, if you want to see an example of this, hit play again on that on that last video. And right towards the end of that video, if you look at the image on the left,
you got something coming into view like crazy.
You see that little round spot that's just to the left of the heart, which is right in the middle. Again, this is the image on the left. That thing that's like this, well, that's actually the diaphragm, and the liver is right underneath it. So you can see the liver right up here, right on the top. Well, it's up here, a little higher.
Yeah, here's a question. You had mentioned that an MRI, you mentioned that an MRI is about an hour. How long is a CT, particularly if they're going to be doing like his entire chest cavity down into his abdomen? What's the time on something like that?
8-10 minutes.
Okay, he could do 8-10 minutes.
Maybe, yeah.
He couldn't do an hour. There's no way. He could do 8 minutes.
Last point, and then I'll close it out. So why did they not clarify? Oh, by the way, it wasn't an MRI. It was a CT scan, either with contrast or without contrast, without
even
the dye.
Just mentioning CT scan at all.
Even just mentioning that. They continue to use the phrase advanced imaging, and they've stuck with that because I think the last thing that anybody wants to do over there is to make Trump look like the fool that he is.
That's what I was wondering,
say he was wrong when he said he had an MRI. He actually had a CT. So instead, they're sort of just ignore the MRI part. He had advanced imaging. This is what it showed, and he's fine. So that's the official MRI results. That wasn't an MRI that Trump has had. He apparently, based on this report, if this is true, remarkably, he is not, it seems improbable that
he remains a medical anomaly, is what it seems.
Yeah, well, yeah. But it also seems improbable that a heart attack, which would be a clogged artery, an acute clogged artery in the heart.
Yeah.
It seems improbable that a heart attack would be the thing that would cause Trump to not be able to complete his term.
So that leaves either...
I mean, there's still a possibility of things like a stroke. This doesn't image anything associated with that. And, the idea of how well is his brain working. Just yesterday at a cabinet meeting, he was asleep for damn near half the meeting. Anytime that anybody in the cabinet meeting started to talk about things, like education, he's like nodding off. It's really...
If it's not
incredible.
War with Venezuela, deporting
even
immigrants,
when Hegseth was starting to get into stuff.
Right. Actually, no, I take that back.
Off.
He was
just, I tell you, it's crazy. Even with Rubio, who was at the end of the meeting, he kind of went last. He's sitting right next to Trump.
Yeah, right next to him.
And Trump is doing this thing, and his eyes are kind of getting closed. And Rubio is right next to him. It's a good thing he kept his remarks very short because he did not want Trump to fall asleep when he was talking. Yeah. So anyway, that concludes this Trump health update. Again, I will continue to keep you and everybody apprised as best as I can in a genuine and authentic, honest way, as truthful as I can be, my best assessment of what's going on with Trump's health. And there is your MRI results. We appreciate everybody stopping by.
Thank you.
Below
Yes,
you
thank
will
you.
find our socials. Stop by and say hi. I'm on BlueSky, and Max is. Where are you, Max? You are
Mainly
on
Twitter for really fast interaction and TikTok. I'm
Twitter
on
and TikTok are your hotspots. Very good.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to serve you today, and we will see you for the next Trump health update
Which could happen at any moment.
at any moment.